So after all the signing ceremonies, what does the political future exactly look like with all the coalitions being formed? Let's take a closer look at the coalitions that have been formed so far. The first coalition agreement was signed between TNA's Uhuru Kenyatta and URP's William Ruto. That agreement was put to paper yesterday at the Jevanjee Gardens. That a coalition that brought together TNA and URP as they head towards the next general election. And the second coalition was signed today at the Kenyatta International Conference Center. That is an agreement that saw Prime Minister Raila Odinga come into a coalition with Kalonzo Musyoka. Of course, that is a coalition that was formed this morning that brought in Wetangula as well. Well, the second coalition agreement saw the inclusion of several other parties and brought different political leaders, and this is an agreement that saw us see the inclusion of Charity Ngilu and of course Omingo Margara in a second coalition that is heading towards the next general election. They hope that this is a coalition that will take them to the State House. The third agreement was signed late this afternoon, and that was between NVP, New Ford Kenya and FPK. It is an agreement that brought together Eugene Wamalwa, Nicholas Biwott and Cyrus Jirongo in what they said was giving Kenyans a third option, even as the number of coalition agreements was rising today as they all raced to beat the deadline. Late this afternoon, another coalition agreement was signed between Kenneth and Raphael Tuju at Mayfair Hotel here in Nairobi, and that brought together the Poor Party and Kenya National Congress. The most dramatic one, of course, that we have seen later in the day, this is an occurrence that developed in the last couple of minutes or so. As this has come in as Musalia Mudavadi has gotten into the Uhuru Ruto alliance. But all these coalitions really have left one major presidential candidate on her own, so to speak. That is Martha Karua. KTN's Rita Tinina now looks at the options that are available for Martha Karua, even as we head closer to the general election.
As politicians rushed to beat the deadline for the formation of coalitions, one player was missing in action in the last-minute dash to ink political deals. NARC Kenya presidential aspirant Martha Karua spent the coalition D-Day in Tindegwa, Kiambu, where she attended a funeral. Karua, who has cut herself the image of a political lone ranger, has kept away from hotel meetings and late-night negotiations in the search for the winning coalition. And with the curtains now down on the coalition season, Martha Karua is the last one standing.
Mutu aje, kuja na uje na watu yako. Tutaonana kwa kiwanja.
When Martha Karua walked out on President Daniel Moi some years ago, she was making a political statement. But it was not just a one-off political stunt. Over the years, the 55-year-old Gishugu Member of Parliament has proved to be her own man, or woman for that matter.
Martha Karua is the only man in PNU. Everybody else is a flower girl.
With a characteristic menacing look, some have described her as arrogant, principled, Kenya's Iron Lady. Or is she? During the 2007 presidential election results fiasco at the KICC, Karua was one of the greatest defenders of President Mwai Kibaki. But she was later to ditch the Kibaki cabinet in 2009.
I feel my position as minister is untenable.
Relegated to the back bench, Karua still kept the pressure on the government, many a times swimming against the current in parliamentary debates, but managing to hold her ground nevertheless. In April, she launched her presidential bid. And even though the pollsters have not given her any favorable ratings compared to her political rivals, Karua kicked off a campaign with her sights firmly set on becoming the first woman president of Kenya.
Martha Karua ameota doto akiwa State House.
With the curtains now down on the coalition season, Martha Karua has once again lived up to her reputation, that of standing out of the crowd. Question is she keeping away from everyone on principle, or are her principles keeping everyone away from her? Rita Tinina, KTN Prime.
Thanks, Rita, for that. Now, to get the facts right, Political analyst Martin Olo is in studio. Thank you very much for joining us. We've seen the stories that are going on air right now. What are your thoughts about the pre-election pacts, especially right now for Raila Kalonzo, or what they are calling the Raila-Lonzo pact? What's your thoughts?
First, I think you've described it well as KTN. That's drama, high drama, and we saw rashes, we saw quick deals, we saw decisions that may not have been well thought out. But the fact is, we're here with pre-election coalitions, and we shall also be here with post-election coalitions. That's what our constitution allows, and that's what is likely to be the case because of the nature of our politics and because of the divisive nature of our politics. Coalitions become necessary.
Did you see it coming? Did you see this coming?
Absolutely, they were coming. Just about who was going to be with who was an issue, but coalitions were coming because, again, it is in the constitution, it is in the law. It allows you to pull together, it allows you to find ways in which you can then attract various votes and so on. So coalitions even of people, coalitions of parties, coalition of women, coalition of youth, those are coalitions that are necessary in politics.
Let's not forget the Lone Rangers in this whole scenario.
Yeah.
We have Martha Karua, who has decided to go it alone.
Right.
What are their chances of winning?
I don't think it's a chance of winning for them, it's a chance of participating. And I think that they are saying we're in for the long haul. As to whether they have chances, I think every politician will tell you, I'm winning, but deep in their own souls, they know that they are not winning. The key issue here is the choices people are making, they have to live with them. So when you choose to go into a coalition, it means there are certain sacrifices you need to make. If you wanted to be president, you step down for somebody else. Those are choices. Those who are going into a whole hog are saying, wait, we want to be on the ballot, we want to make our name part of the history.
It's not over yet. We have pre-election deadline, which was today. We also have those who want their running mate. The deadline is in January 4th.
Right.
What do you think? Could this change the political landscape in the country?
Absolutely. The haggling is going to be there, apart from one coalition which has already said, well, the position of presidency will have a runoff or will have a primary, but the other one is fixed. The rest will really have issues. They will have boardroom discussions. They will have a lot of issues to consider. So there is going to be some element of continuous discussions. The point here is we are here to see coalitions and perhaps jostling. What is the benefit that this brings to the citizen? I say two things. One, you could easily have an easier way in which we can organize our elections and maybe get out of it. But there is also a possibility that you could be shortchanged because you might get somebody who, if you were given a chance, you would not otherwise want, but coalitions bring it.
I don't want you to go to number 10, but let's just be fair here. Should the pacts see March 4th, what's their chance, or what do you foresee, an outright win or an outright runoff?
I think that we've seen two things here. One, that in 2002, and the analysis are very spot on, there was certain elements that wanted to bring reforms. Those elements seem to have regrouped in the Coalition for Restoration of Democracy. Now, in 2002, you had another breed of what you would have called the Kanu succession issues. That breed had Uhuru Kenyatta, had Musalia, and Ruto was one of the campaigners. So basically, you're seeing a replay of 2002 here, and you're seeing a winning team perhaps coming in with a message of reforms.